back, everybody. This is the Thanks for Rolling podcast. And today, Jeff and I are solo in the studio. No guest. No guest, no agenda. Should be a good one.
No nothing, man.
I don't think we've ever done one like this.
I don't think so. Even our very first one was like a get to know you. Remember that? And we had like actual questions we were asking each other. Yeah.
And anytime we record without a guest, we usually have some kind of topic, whether it's recapping an event or upcoming events, current events, that kind of stuff.
I was thinking on the way in today, we don't have anything, well, maybe you do, planned gym-wise, right? Like, there's nothing on the horizon that we were going to talk about.
No, we have no seminars, tournaments, in-house thing, nothing on the books right now.
So people are listening going, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I know. I don't know if we even will the rest of this year. I mean, the calendar year is flying by.
Yeah. Some competitions for the guys coming up.
Yeah. What's the future of FNGL hold for us?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So, I don't know, we've talked here and there, right, about how hard it is to get people to commit to the week-long or however long it is, 5-week season. Right? I really like the idea because it makes it different than just, show up once, roll out, and be done. And I think it's cool to see the guys, like, over the course of the 4 or 5 weeks, like, bond and, different strategies emerging and whatnot. But overall, it's a pain in the butt to get competitors.
Yeah.
And I always have that worry in the back of my head that, like, somebody's going to drop out in the middle, and which we had happen. Actually, not even in the middle. He didn't even make it 2 weeks. And then we're going to be scrambling and trying to figure out what to do with the points and all that jazz, right? So I think what we're going to do, or what we've talked about, is, at least for this time, this year, do what we're calling like a super fight series, and just have a series over the course of whatever it is, 4 weeks, right? Just get a series of matches, however many a night, on Friday nights again. And that way people don't have to commit, right? We can just get some cool matches going. We'll still do our full production and everything like that, and should have a good time, but people don't have to commit to anything else. So,
yeah. Cool thing about running your own event is you can do stuff like that, right?
You can do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. So,
yeah, what I see and what I hear around it is everyone that participates in it loves it for all the reasons you just talked about. Spectators love it for all those same reasons. But those commitments are just hard.
Yeah. I don't know if it'd be easier if it was the Saturday morning grappling league, right? Maybe that is. Guys are used to competing on weekends, Saturdays usually. So I don't know. We'll give this a shot.
But this was all born out of Friday night fights.
Yes. Right, exactly. Right. So I kind of like it being on Friday nights. It's fun, like a little underground type of thing. And we had originally said, like, hey, no frills, right? We're just going to come in and do the thing and go. We've added a little bit of frills. But
we had a few frills last season.
Yeah.
Nate added some of his own frills without us knowing about it.
He did bring his own frills. That's right. That's right. So we'll see what happens. I haven't, I've got some marketing ideas kind of floating around at this point, but I haven't even begun to speak to people. I'll be curious to see what happens, right? Once we start saying hey, this will be, we're just looking for super fight matchups, whether or not that helps with competitors, right? So
I bet it will.
I mean, the other thing was we had, you have a chance to win $1,000 in.
Right. Now you won't.
Now you won't. So that, to me, you're going to pay $100 or whatever it is to go compete one time, maybe have one match at Naga and be done, right?
Pay $100, bet on yourself.
Right. So you got to
come out tenfold.
Right. I mean, that's not a bad. And some of the guys, right, are always down. I mean, some of our guys here, obviously, I know if we had Dan Gillen back, right, he would roll every time. Chris would be back every time. Obviously, our defending 2-time champion, Joe, was in without even a second thought. So the guys who have been here, right, obviously they'd be willing to come back. But I like to change it up, right? I want to be able to have different weight classes or different setups. That just makes it more hard. Makes it harder to get the same guys back in again.
Yeah.
So
a lot of TBD.
Yeah. Right. So probably in late February, early March, I'll start having something to people to chew on. We've got some cool marketing ideas floating around already at this point. So yeah, that's part of the fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No rush. I mean, winter time's tough anyway.
Yeah, and we didn't
Because
even.
all it takes is one snowy day and
Right.
jacks up everything.
And we didn't even. When was it? In May that we did it this year.
Yeah.
So maybe with the super fights, we don't have to be putting it out there as early as we would normally. So keep an eye out for the FNGL Super Fight series, even though we have some debate about whether or not we'd call them super fights.
Yeah.
So
We've talked about that on this podcast. I had a little heartburn over the super fight term, but it's a commonly used naming convention in the community. People know what you're talking about.
right.
So they'll call it that anyway. So
Right.
I'll concede.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a tournament, so we can't call it that, obviously, but
Can't call it the Friday Night Grappling League regular individual match series because that just doesn't roll off the tongue.
right. right. Friday Night Grappling League, individual, no points, no money.
You're not special. It's just a regular match
Right.
series.
Right. So I have some ideas, some like longer term ideas that I think would be cool to do with different schools, kind of like a rotating set of matches at different locations.
Yeah, we've like tossed around the idea of a dual meet type series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be really cool.
That takes even more commitment though, right? You need the commitment from an entire team of competitors, a coach, and a location.
Right.
But I think if we start small, I mean, we have close enough friends that are pretty committed to the cause.
Right.
That I think we could do a trial run.
Just do 4 maybe, right? To start with 4 teams, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah. So we'll see. That's a little ways off. We'll see what happens with this next series and go from there.
Cool.
So yeah, that's where my head is on it.
So recently here, we've switched up the class format a little bit. We went from segregating the beginners and the advanced students to just everybody's in a longer format, all levels class.
Yeah.
How do you think it's going?
I think from a teaching perspective, I think it's not that much different, right? I don't feel like we did something or I was doing something different now that I didn't do before. I haven't had a chance to take as many of them, but I do like the fact that, so what we did was we do some, I'll call it instruction, right? In the first half of the class, first hour of the class, then we have some time to spar in the second half. I think people like that, right? I know I like that. It's kind of cool. Even if I'm teaching and sometimes I'll just, be able to roll for that last half hour, which is nice. And at least if I'm going to be here, I get a chance to get some action. I haven't heard any feedback from anybody though, honestly, like any of the students. Have you?
Not a lot. I think initially I probably got some direct feedback, but for me, just seeing the actions of people speaks much louder than the feedback. And, classes are regularly attended. People are sticking through the end, getting their rounds and rolling. So to me, that tells me everyone likes the format.
Yeah, so there's not like the day now where we had like 2 people show up, right? We haven't really had that at all.
So that's what was happening in the advanced class. The quote-unquote beginners class was always pretty busy. But then the advanced class after, a lot of times there would be, or not a lot of times, regularly it was just 2 to 5 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was getting a little bit stale for those guys, just always having the same
couple
of training partners, and now everyone gets to train with everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. We scale things, right, to work for everybody. I don't know about you, but I come in with a rough outline of a class plan every night, and then, sometimes it's the class that we have 3 trial students. It's like, okay, we need to either scale this back a little bit or kind of get an experienced student to buddy up with them and help them along. Or like last night, it was all pretty experienced people, and you're able to just run with a pretty advanced class plan.
Yeah, I generally come in, I spend some time during the day, usually listing out like 4 or 5 things to do. And then I kind of watch to see like, all right, did that completely fall off the rails? Was that a terrible thing for us to be doing? And if that's the case, maybe I just scrap it all together. But at a minimum, I'm usually trying to figure out like, do we do this again? Do we slightly tweak it and do it again? Or just, move on to the next thing? especially with newer people in the room. So I find that if I don't prepare in advance, I can't even do that, right? Because I'm trying to think about what we're doing next anyway, right? So I'd feel better coming in with like an idea of what it is I'm going to be trying to show at least. Yeah, whether it's something that you showed earlier in the week or like how to, because our schedule kind of, Pat's got the first half of the week. I have Wednesday. Pat comes back Thursday. Then Nate has Friday. So I'm kind of at least stay somewhat in line with what you've done the first couple of days.
Yeah, it's a little chopped up, but
yeah,
I think it works.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, people's attendance is all over the place, so
yeah.
I don't think it needs to be precisely consistent across the week.
Right. I also think, frankly, that, and I know I did this too, right? Like if I know that like the professor is teaching a certain days, like you're going to get the attendance, but it's harder when you're going to attend like after the class, right? So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So the general format now is we have the structured class for about an hour. We're actually not. I mean, we're pretty precise and efficient with that hour. Typically, we start 6 o'clock on the dot. We're in Big E traffic season right now, so this was the first week of it. So I've been giving people a little bit of grace to 6:05 or so, but we'll get back on being prompt. And
thank you, JT.
Yeah. If you listen, what was it, a year and a half ago maybe, we interviewed JT, and he talked about how class always starts right on time and ends right on time.
I have not deviated from that since that day. Like that's, if I'm late, it's something happened, right? But I'm trying to start at 6 every day. That like resonated with me for whatever reason, right?
Really like so 6 to 7 is our structured part of the class, and even that endpoint where I usually fall plus or minus 2 or 3 minutes of that time, I think.
Yeah. I think yesterday I looked, it was 6:56.
Yeah, you're about to add in another game.
I was about to add another game, and I was like, all right, I'll just start rolling.
Yeah, and then we roll for a half hour. Usually get 5 or 6 rounds, and wrap it up at that point.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. Because when I first started, you would do like 45 minutes of class, and then there'd be about 45 minutes of rolling. And obviously, it was a different style of class with like more drill-based work, but and everybody would hang around, right? And it was later too, right? Because you still had the whatever we called the first half of class, or I forget. No, class was different, right? We didn't have them stacked up like we did previously.
It alternated because we had kids class early.
That's right. Yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking recently that you have been pretty flexible with the way you've scheduled over the time that I've been coming here, right? So it's only been 5 years. But there's been quite a few like scheduling changes to continually evolve, like how it's working for people.
Yeah, I think this current one is probably the biggest singular schedule change I've ever made.
Yeah.
And a lot of thought went into it. Yeah. We polled the students to make sure the timing was going to work for most and try to be as democratic as I can be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it works well. I think I don't know that there's another gym out there as efficient with the usage of time in the evening as we are right now.
Yeah. It's nice to be done at, if we're done at 7:30 by the time we clean the mats and everything, we're out of here. I mean, typically we're shooting the shit for a little while, but potentially done by 7:45.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. It's nice. Like I got home and I was like, shit, it's not even 8 o'clock yet. Like that didn't happen before. So
yeah. And we recently just added 6 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Nate's been in my ear a little bit about it, and I'd honestly forgotten, and he messaged me when we were in Vegas saying some people were asking again. So I was like, all right, let's give it a try. And it's been pretty good. He's got, I think, a solid group of 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's a nice time.
So then you can build off of that.
Yeah.
As long as you have a small nucleus of people that will always be there, then you can build.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to pump out some marketing to target specifically morning people. Because right now it's mostly people that sometimes they do evenings, sometimes they do mornings. I think we have maybe one guy that's just mornings, plus Jordan. Yeah. Jordan's an official 10th Planet member now.
Yeah, that's right. So is he coming typically in the mornings? I haven't seen him here.
Yeah, he's been coming to 6 a.m.s.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think he lifts before he comes to 6 a.m.
Does
class.
He really?
Yeah.
Dude's crazy. That's good.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'd like to try to get there like once in a while at 6 o'clock. The schedule's been so shitty. I was like, I could probably do once a week at that. It's hard. try to trick your body to getting up at 5, whatever it is in the morning.
What I hadn't even thought about is it's dark out at that time.
Yeah.
It's like these guys getting up and walking into the gym when it's still dark.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah. And it's going to be freaking cold at that time. That's the worst part. Like summertime is one thing, but I think when I first started training, I would do no-gi. I want to say maybe it was at 7, but it was still pretty freaking early. It felt early, right? And then we would do like Muay Thai an hour later. But it was nice to get it out of the way. That's the thing, right? Get it out of the way and you're done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. If we had showers, we'd probably get even more people that could train, shower, go straight to work.
Right to work. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If I didn't have to drag my ass to Connecticut for work, I would make it a lot easier. Yeah. I mean, I'm up to drive anyway at that point. So, yeah. What else is going on?
I was thinking about a topic on my drive here. I think we had briefly talked about it on a pod probably 2 years ago at this point. You brought up the question of, do you still love jiu-jitsu?
Mm-hmm. Are you asking me this?
You asked me, but now I'm asking you. Do you still love jiu-jitsu?
No, I wouldn't say I love it.
Did you once?
Yes, 100%. But I watch guys like Nate, right? Or even Tony to an extent, like some of the guys, the newer guys, right? Like you can tell, like Vinny loves it, right? Like Dom, they're out there loving it. I don't have that same feeling for it now that I did then. I still like it, and when I do it, I feel good, right? I like it, but I'm not nearly like as in love with it as I was.
You don't bug out if you miss a day.
I don't bug out. Yeah, I don't like. I'm not scouring videos to like follow things all the time, but I used to, right? I think other things in life are just show up and be more important, right? As a father and shit, like that's hard, right? It's hard. Like that's probably when things started to change the most was, when I have to take care of a kid at the same time, right? But I would be missing something in my life if I wasn't coming here a couple times a week, right? Like it just becomes part of like your life.
You have to shuffle those
identity.
priorities.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know that I love it. I wouldn't say no, I don't love it. Do you?
I love it differently.
Oh, that's a good
It's
answer.
not the same love that it was 5 to 10 years ago. I love coaching it. I love studying the coaching of it now, trying to be a better coach. But as far as I don't have the competitive drive. I don't really care about the wins and the losses and the rounds and any of that stuff anymore. I still enjoy training, but kind of along the lines of what you were just saying, it's not going to mess up my week if I miss a scheduled training day.
Yeah.
And I think that might just come with some better perspective of being in the game a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Having a long-term vision on it. If I miss a day of training this week over the course of however many years I plan on doing this, that's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in that 0 to blue belt phase, like every day seems so important. And if you miss one, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
All these guys are getting better than me.
That's 100%. Yeah. I guess that's probably what I don't care about anymore, because there was a time period where, again, in that like white to blue belt phase where I'm training 5 days a week, and the other guys that are training 5 days a week with me, like I can't let them be whooping my ass out there. They
can't edge out one class on you.
Right. Now it's like I don't give a shit. Like I could care less. Like who beats me, who doesn't beat me. Like that shit doesn't even enter into my mind 90% of the time. I'm curious for you though. Like, did it change once you got to black belt?
I don't think so. I don't think it was the belt that changed. I think it was that kind of just coincides, I think, with the amount of time and experience.
Yeah.
At that phase, I was already losing the competitive drive. And also with the experience and the time comes just the fact that there's less to learn.
Yeah.
Right? There's still a lot to learn, but if you think about starting from scratch, everything you need to learn pretty quickly to just be an effective grappler, it's a lot. And then after you get to a certain point, like purple belt and up, you're just constantly trying to tweak and add some new things on, but it's not such a steep curve like it is at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I remember being fairly motivated by promotion early on. And then I guess that coincides with the whole thing about like, oh, my buddies are getting better than I am, right? So like you're trying to balance those things. And I remember thinking like, oh shit, John's here. I gotta perform really well in front of him, right? As he's like watching me, right? Or if we had a chance to like roll together, like gotta make sure that I'm like not doing some dumbass mistake, right?
Probably would.
Yeah.
It's Murphy's Law.
Which didn't matter anyway. Yeah. Like soon as he'd be watching, we'd do something idiotic and he'd be saying like, no, dude, what he would say, bro, your other hand, your other right hand, bro, without fail. In fact, if I went to some of my friends now and said, who am I? And I'd say, your other hand, bro, they would all say, hey, you're John. Anyway. But yeah, I think that stuff just becomes less of a focus, right? I just come here now it's like there's a camaraderie and like a brotherhood, right? And like friendships that you build, which is a big part of it. And I know when I first started jiu-jitsu, that was something that I was missing. And like, I was like, oh shit, this is like a family. Mm-hmm. And then when I came here, like I didn't know anybody and you guys had all been training together for a long time. So it took a long time to feel like at home here too. So I think like stepping away from that, like I couldn't imagine just saying, oh, I'm quitting. I'm never doing jiu-jitsu again.
Right.
Like that doesn't ever really enter into your head, right? No. Like that's just be weird.
Yeah, there's still, 2 or 3 times a week I try to get some of my training rounds in. Still really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But definitely the primary focus is on coaching and being the best coach I can. And I get the most enjoyment out of watching the progress of all the students, just looking around the room and seeing everyone having fun and how good they're getting, or hearing them come up to me and tell me, so-and-so's gotten so good, or so-and-so's guard is ridiculous, and blah, blah, blah. I love that stuff. Yeah. Or watching them have competitive success.
Yeah. I definitely have spent more time in the last year plus thinking about, I'm not even going to call it coaching, thinking about the transference of information, right? And then like, by no means do I consider myself to know everything, right? Not even close. But like, how do you teach or show people the small things in a way that they can use them, right? And I know we obviously have talked a shitload about how we teach here, but like that's become much more of a focus, right? How do I think all the time about what are the most basic building blocks of jiu-jitsu, and not just stealing from Greg, for example, right? But like, what are those most basic building blocks that people need to do in any given situation to be successful? And like, how do you take that and then turn that into a game or like some kind of thing to do at class where they can, really start to apply that? Mm-hmm. What do they need to think about there? Sometimes I think like I'll watch the class and I'll say something and I'll just like, they're all just glazed over, right? Like, what are you talking about? But that's like, for me, like that is a fun part of the evolution. It's not like hands-on grappling, but it's also, I consider that part of my jiu-jitsu journey. And I definitely feel I'm better today than I was a year and a half ago because of that like constant mental work that's going on.
Yeah, I think I'd be lost if I didn't have the coaching outlet, and I'd be equally as lost if I just wasn't training at all. I think I have a pretty happy balance of those two things right now. Mm-hmm. Probably close to the best I've ever managed those two, I think. Mm-hmm. It helps that competition isn't on the front of my mind either. Yeah. That's a really hard one, trying to fit in your own competitive preparation along with coaching. Mm-hmm. Training for fun, it's pretty easy to squeeze that in with the coaching responsibilities, but really prepping to compete against good guys is hard to do.
Yeah. Never been a thing for me, maybe because I was older when I started doing this, right? Like I've competed, but it was never like, I had to like really psych myself up to want to start down that road of like trying to get ready to compete. Although I won't lie and say that I have considered a couple times like getting into like Masters Worlds and like trying to go do that route. I need to commit and then give myself like a year runway to get ready for it.
I will certainly compete again. It's just not on the front burner right now. Working on the IBJJF nonsense.
Right.
Because love them or hate them, IBJJF's the best place if you're over 30 to get matches against your peers, your age, your weight, your rank.
Right. And that's why I did it. Right. And we both did it in the last, 6 months. But it's funny when I pull open my desk drawer, I have the membership card in there, right? So I'm getting a pen or whatever else out of there. I see the membership card staring at me.
Yeah. I still have some time to wait because of how all their stuff works. I'd never gotten a membership with them at any other rank, and with the approval process, there's nobody within the entire 10th Planet Association high enough that can just approve you as a black belt. So I had to get approved as a brown belt, and then you have to wait your time in rank before they can recognize you getting promoted at black belt, which I think is 2 years.
So by then you'll have an additional degree on your black belt.
Yeah,
anyway.
but it won't count.
I know. Yeah. Right. So I would like to do that at some point. Drop a shitload of weight and get in better shape. But it's not a priority at the moment.
Yeah. So I don't want the people out there to be like, oh, those guys aren't even into jiu-jitsu anymore.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
There'll probably be some soundbite that could be clipped out of this that.
Do you love it? And I'm saying, no, I don't love it.
Yeah. It's just a cash grab, bro.
Right. Exactly.
Just taking everyone's money. I don't even care.
Right. It's a different kind of love. Like, I love having jiu-jitsu in my life, and like all the friends I've made, right, all the cool things we've done, like, are all because of that. But I don't love it like I used to love it. That's the difference. Yeah. It's funny because I know he'll listen to this too, so I'll just call him out by name. Like Deering, when he started, and he was here like every freaking day, like nonstop, right? And he loved it, right? And you loved it, Ryan. And now you can see like the drop off. It just happens.
Yeah.
Right? It happens. It's really hard to maintain that level of intensity. That's why I'm amazed by Nate all the time, because his love, like, that dude loves it more than anybody I've ever been around.
He makes it work with his life.
Yeah. More than anybody I've ever been around. So,
yeah. Balance in all things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as with all things in life. Right. So, yeah, that's my answer. That was probably like that might have been like a first interview question that I asked originally. Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah. All right, ready for one more? One for you?
You have one for me?
I do.
Okay.
Where do you see the gym in 5 years?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So, big determining factor coming up is we're just about to enter our last year of the lease on this place. So, what we negotiate for the end of this is going to decide a lot of that. I don't even know if the landlord intends to extend us a future lease here. I hope that he would, because I feel like we're a pretty solid tenant. I always pay my bills on time. Mm-hmm. I only bug him when the roof leaks.
Right. So
only when it leaks really bad.
Right.
It still leaks a little bit, and I just let it go. It's only when it leaks really bad. I honestly, I can't make too much of a solid plan until we know where we're going to end up and what kind of space we're going to have. So when I was just looking at a group chat on here I have with Rob, Denise, and Aaron was complaining about how hard it is to find commercial space. And so that's kind of where my head's at. It's, if we don't get to stay in this place, it's a lot of work to find a new place, especially a new place that has enough space that we want. And we're kind of a special tenant, right? We need space. We need parking. We're kind of noisy.
Yeah. How long is the commitment for usually?
It depends. We had a 5-year on this place.
It's nice so that you can get, like, it's not a year-to-year kind of thing where you could, like, be out in your ass in a year. That would suck ass. That would be terrible.
I like the direction we're going in right now. So I'd like to stay moving in that direction. I think we're a good size. It's manageable for me as just a single owner.
Yeah. With
some volunteer help. A little bit bigger would be nice, just to be a little bit more financially comfortable. But, we're at a membership size where there's never a month I worry about the bills. Yeah. But we're also not so big that it's become difficult to manage. Like, as bad as I am at remembering names, I at least recognize by face every single person that walks in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Takes a little bit of time. You got to stick it out for a month or two for me to really remember your name, unless you do something weird, and then I'll remember you by a nickname.
Right.
But I'll definitely remember your face.
Everybody gets a nickname eventually.
Yeah.
It's funny how often, like, we will refer to people by their nicknames, because otherwise it's like, I tell people to their face on their first day, like, I'm terrible with names. I'm just telling you right now. So, yeah. Or someone will ask me, like, what's that guy's name? I'm like, you're asking me? Yeah. Don't ask me what people's names are.
Right now is definitely the lowest stress time I've had in owning this gym. I think we're just in a comfortable spot when it comes to, the membership size, the finances, the coaching coverage for classes. Just everything's pretty steady and reliable right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, you get exposed to more drama than I would certainly be aware of, but, like, it seems like everybody likes each other.
Yeah, there's honestly not much drama here at all.
It's good.
I mean, present time, there's zero.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in the back of my mind. It's like, here's a situation I got to deal with at some point or another. It's just, we just get to show up and train right now.
Yeah. It's a good group of people.
Not having a kids program is a direct factor into the lower stress. Just being responsible for kids is it's a really big responsibility. So a lot of extra stress just naturally came with that.
Yeah, there's no regrets in that decision, is there?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was a hard decision to make. I felt really bad, not being here for those kids anymore, especially the ones that have been coming here for quite a while. But I finally recognized I was in a spot where I just wasn't able to give what they really needed and what they deserved is paying customers.
Yeah. It's funny because Clara will ask me once in a while, like, is kids class coming back? And I was like, no, not anytime soon. And she was like, what if I want to train again? I was like, well, you can go someplace else, or you can wait till you're of age and then you can train with everybody else. And she was like, oh, okay. That's good. That was a good enough answer.
Yeah. Which is funny because she wasn't really into training.
I know. Yeah, she's full of shit. Don't get me wrong. That's complete full of shit. That's why I don't give her, like, my very good answers. But, like, yeah, she's full of shit. She loved training at first, and then the last however many months it was, she was like, I don't really want to go. She would come in and still not train. So, yeah. So you can train when you get old enough.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is to be, if I can be a black belt by the time it's time to promote her, then I'll be good to go. I'll be happy then. Then I can quit. It'll be done. It can be done. Yep.
Want to talk some music real quick?
Yeah.
Big news in the music world the last couple of weeks. The return of Linkin Park with a new face and a new voice.
You have been very dialed into this.
I have
Linkin Park scene. Were you a big Linkin Park fan, or is this a rekindling because of their reemergence?
I think it's both. I forget where I heard it from, but I heard someone at some point out the music you listen to in, like, your teens and early 20s is what sticks with you the most. So, that was prime Linkin Park time for me.
Yeah, we were talking about when they first came out. I think the first album or that first single was out in 2000. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how old were you then?
I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
When they really hit the scene.
Wow. Really? Because I have 10 years on you.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Yeah. I remember, it's funny because I had a buddy, I still have a buddy, who was, like, big into music, and he was giving me a CD, like a burned CD. Remember when that was the thing, right? And it was...
Did he print a label for you?
He didn't print a label. I think he had it
Sharpied?
Yeah, it was Sharpied on there, and it was the second Deftones album. And he's going, you should listen to this, Around the Fur. Great. And I remember saying to him, I can picture exactly where we were at work, right? And I remember saying to him, like, oh, have you heard this Linkin Park song? Like, must have been One Step Closer, right? And he was like, oh, I'd never heard of them. And that was, like, the extent of the conversation. But I still remember that. I think I was telling you, too, like, we got super into the Reanimated album with, like, the hip-hop remixes. Because it was, like, so different than anything else that was out there at the time. Like, not just, like, remixes that got stuck onto, like, the bonus track of the album, but, like, actual, like, full album of, like...
Fully produced.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I actually only like looked that up again, probably when we were talking about it a couple weeks ago, if that, and like played it. It doesn't quite hold up to me as well as it did before, but it was still, man, I love that freaking album. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I still remember where I was the first time I heard In the End.
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, not in detail, but
Yeah.
I remember where I was and the general group of people that were around.
Yeah. So I listened to them, like the first album, I think I said what, the first 3 albums, maybe the 4th album. Meteora was the second one, right? What's the third one? I could picture the album
Second.
cover. Meteora was the second
Not
one.
counting Reanimation.
Yes, not counting that one. What was the third album called?
Was that Minutes to Midnight?
Minutes to Midnight, yes. Yeah. So maybe after that I kind of fell off with them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But
Those are all good songs.
yeah. I had it on the other day in the car with Clara, and she was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah. Tay's always loved Linkin Park just because I've listened to it so much.
yeah. Yeah, I remember you saying you were really into Chester's voice.
Yeah.
And like his ability to go from singing to screaming, like all over the map.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that other band I told you about that he was
I
in?
haven't yet. I forgot the name. You'll have to tell me again after.
Gray Days. Yeah. It randomly came up. I'm trying to remember where it was or why it came up. It must have been on like one of the Sirius channels. Or maybe it was like playing something random whatever on Apple Music.
Yeah.
And
The
it came
algorithm
up.
got you.
Yeah, the algorithm. And then like it didn't even occur to me, but I happened to like look him up on Wikipedia or some other thing, and it came up as like his first band. I was like, oh, it can't be the same one that I just heard the other day. And I looked at the album, I was like, oh yeah, I recognize this. So it doesn't sound like him, but apparently he's singing on it. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Linkin Park was the anthem for us in those kind of emotional, angsty teenager years.
That's so funny. I had hair metal back in my day, so it wasn't quite the same. There wasn't a whole lot of angst there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the new formation of the band?
I always liked her voice. So I listened to Dead Sarah, right? When a while ago, like years ago, I remember Weatherman being a singer that I liked from them, and didn't think anything of it. But I remember like thinking like her voice was really good. This was out like when I was living in Boston area, so it's a while ago at this point, and hadn't really heard anything about them or hadn't thought about them in a long time. And then I think I texted you, right? And I was like, "Oh, Linkin Park is."
Yeah, I was here teaching class.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to watch that until the next day.
They had like you were doing a live show. And it kind of just randomly popped up for me on YouTube, and I didn't know who the singer was. I was like, "Oh, they have a female singer." I Googled her, then saw that she was in Dead Sarah. I was like, "Oh shit, okay, I remember them." She got a great voice.
Yeah,
She's a
pretty
real cool
impressive
voice.
how in 2024 they kept that under wraps so good.
I know. I thought the same thing.
Because I remember a few months ago, I think we were talking, like there was a rumor that they were working with a female singer.
Oh, really? I don't remember that. Yeah, we talked about that.
But then just like, I don't know, they must have just
Squashed it.
squashed it and nothing else ever came out.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I had the same thought. Like when they were that show showed up on YouTube, I was like, damn, how did they get this like completely under the radar?
And the people that attended that show didn't know what they were going to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I guess they said they like sent something out to like the underground fan club or whatever they call it, and it was basically you had to guarantee that you could be in Los Angeles at such and such date and time, but like no guarantee you're getting anything and no info on what it is.
That's badass.
So in like their little behind the scenes thing, like people just showed up and just got like a laminated pass and like hopped on a bus.
Yeah.
And like then they get led into the sound stage.
That's sick. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think about all the? Well, first of all, do you like her voice?
I do.
Yeah. I think it's readily apparent that like the new song, "Emptiness Machine," was written around with her in mind, right? I mean, it wasn't. I think at least because her voice fits very well in that song.
Yeah, I told you Tay's been walking around belting it out everywhere, so I'm just waiting for a call from school that he's talking about getting cut open just to watch him bleed. I apologize. That's my fault.
Yeah, right. So you like her voice?
Yeah.
What do you think about all the hate?
There's like two fronts of the hate, right? The replacing Chester is one side of it, and then a bunch of people are hung up on like Scientology and who the hell knows what else. Which
Why, is she a Scientologist? Is that what it was?
she was born into a Scientology family.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. People are going to hate everything.
Yeah.
People hate everything. Again, we were probably in different spots in our lives when that was big. So like the songs were good, but it doesn't resonate with me as like the life-saving music that people are claiming to not, you can't replace him because he saved my life kind of thing.
People are really hung up on it too, and I think they're missing. I don't know if they're purposely glossing over or don't realize that those aren't his lyrics.
Right.
Like Mike Shinoda wrote
Right.
almost all of
Yeah.
that stuff that everyone claims was like Chester's raw emotion. I'm like,
Right.
it just wasn't.
That's funny. Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. That's really funny. They also, one of the things, and I said this to you when we were texting one day, if you watch Mike during those shows, he's so freaking happy.
Yeah.
Right? He just looks so happy. And I don't know whether I just noticed it on him because he's like out in front, but like the band's got to feel good. Like, good for them. Like, if you're a fan of that band, like, be fucking happy that they are like.
I mean, clearly a lot of
doing
people
stuff.
are.
Yeah.
But they announced the shows on is that like a Thursday night? They did the surprise concert,
Maybe, yeah.
and then they played a sold out show Monday, and then the next.
Immediately.
Like within a week.
Yeah, immediately.
Like tickets went on sale, sold out.
Yeah.
2 arenas. So like clearly people are happy about it.
Yeah. You've never seen them live, right?
No.
Yeah, I think I told you, and I will share the story with you here, but I saw them, I don't remember, it was like Ozfest or one of those like touring festivals, and Korn played first, and it was like they were like melting the place down. They were so badass. And then Linkin Park played, and it probably was on their second album, and it was just something about the way the music was like they were standing still, and it was like just a total juxtaposition against
Tough
like
to follow
Korn.
that up.
Yeah, exactly, like the crazy rage of Korn, and then Linkin Park. So, but I was glad that I got to see them. Like looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, that's good to see.
I really wanted to rearrange my life this past week or whenever it was and try to get to the Brooklyn show, but it was just it was such short notice.
Yeah,
everything sold out in a snap too.
Yeah, I'm sure you would think they'll tour more broadly. I would think, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do this little mini tour, get the new album out, and then probably do a full tour off the back of that.
When's that come out? Next month?
November, I think.
Oh, November. It's a little lead time.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
just off that live stream alone, I think I had texted you, had a little question about her voice holding up, right? It kind of let out on her a few times during that set, but but I've watched the YouTube videos of the 2 follow-on concerts, and she hit a groove, they hit a groove.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, she's good. I mean, she's obviously been performing a long time. I'm sure it's hard to sing other people's shit, right? Like his style. I mean, not even the words.
Right. Well, then it's like, are you trying to mimic him? Are you not trying to mimic him?
Right. What was the song? I don't remember. One of the shows that I watched where she was, maybe it was Crawling, right? Where she had them, like the crowd sing it. And I was questioning at first, like, oh, maybe she doesn't feel like she can actually hit these notes. But then by the end of the song, she was like right into it. So yeah, we'll do an album review when I'm sure we played here a million times, right? By the time we did instrumental paper cuts last night.
I should pre-order it because they usually do some cool packaging and everything with the album and the artwork and the literature and all that stuff. I will.
Nice. I don't think I have anything of theirs on vinyl.
I don't either. Gotta be careful of my 13-year-old that likes to scratch on real records.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get those stems so you can cut them up and get a new DJ beat going out of there. You can be on the next Reanimation. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's a little divergent topic for us.
Yeah, figured since we had no agenda.
Yeah.
Kill some time.
All right.
Got the studio all decked out. I think we're
Yeah.
We're in pretty good final form right now.
Maybe I'll take some pictures and stick it in, insert it into the video. You guys can't see it, but the training space is behind the camera now. We're in the what used to be Pat's office until we confiscated it.
We could perform in front of a live studio audience now. So we have a window that looks right in here from the gym space.
We could. That's right. We could have people sitting out there watching.
Except they won't be able to shut up.
Right. We also have a recorded audio-only podcast featuring our kids.
Yeah. Have you listened to it?
No.
Sure, it'll be great.
It's actually on the same memory card, so I will, once I pull this one off, I will give that one a listen to. I thought for sure they would ask me about it yesterday when they were both here, but she hasn't brought it up again.
I interrupted them during that recording because I left something in here I needed, and they locked the door, so I had to knock on the door and scold my kid for locking me out of my own office.
Right. We'll loop that as well. So yeah, it looks good. We got a nice new banner here
Yep.
that you ordered. Got the soundproofing up. Yeah, looks good. I like the Las Vegas
Yeah.
stuff here. I'm looking back at the Rubber Bones.
Rubber Bones
Yeah.
portrait.
I saw that she has a new Halloween
Oh,
one coming
really?
out. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to look.
She always has shown like a little piece of it, but
Yeah.
not the whole thing. And I was like, oh, I'll give that a go. So, yeah, looks good. Pat did good
She
work.
did the recent Google kits.
Yes.
Those look pretty cool.
That's right.
I've seen them in person. Actually, it'll probably be our next episode. We'll have Marty in here.
Yeah.
So he
has one of hers, one of the Rubber Bones?
yeah, he has the new Google kit.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think he wore it the last time we trained.
Just tell him that we know her.
He's got I did. That's how I showed it to him before he knew it existed.
Oh,
He
nice.
contacted her right away.
That's awesome.
They do the light mode and dark mode
That's awesome.
kits.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. I saw her. She must have had like a one-off version that she was selling at one point. And I was like, but it wasn't my size. But they're pretty cool looking. They're
Yeah.
perfect for Google.
Yeah, I guess the thing with the Google gear is you can only buy it if you're a Google employee.
Yeah, yeah. So Tony V, who was
Yeah.
in our last, he had
Right.
the Google kit. So he works for them out here actually. So pretty cool.
Yep. All right. Shall we
Yeah.
wrap?
Yep. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.